CAS jobs. Here we have former Senator Cleophas Malala, former MP Margaret Wanjiru, former Governor Mike Sonko, former Governor Okoth Obado, former MP Chris Wamalwa, former Senator Millicent Omanga, former MP Purity Wangui Ngirishi, and former Sports CS, that is Rashid Chesa. Here it reads, long wait. Hundreds of President William Ruto's supporters are awaiting the shortlist from the Public Service Commission with bated breath because the position of Chief Administrative Secretary offers them the biggest chance to serve in government. The head of state is staring at yet another appointment crisis. I'll ask my panelists this morning to weigh in on this as well. But also looking at the front page, test of a lifetime for primary pupils. I see here Sophia Wamboi, who is sitting her KCP exam at Madaraka Primary School in Nairobi. This picture taken of her yesterday when the national exams kicked off. I see here on the ticker, show of class as Ghana, Cameroon shine in Qatar. I did mention James Mamboleo, Elvis Abena, Karibuni Sana. What do you make of this front headline on the front page of the Daily Nation? There was a court ruling in regard to the CAS position. Perhaps you could provide some insight, Elvis?
Yes, thank you, Olive. What we are saying is that regardless of the provisions of what the court stated about the unconstitutionality of the CAS, at least as it was constituted in the previous organization, the current administration is trying to have the same office, do the same functions, only as constituted differently. And from what we are seeing in the dailies today, we are having, just when it says delayed windfall 5,000 ICAS jobs, just shows the state of the Kenyan political scene, in the sense that we have all these people who are not necessarily out for service, but more of getting back and getting the windfall and getting the benefits of the opportunity to work as CASs. The court, when dealing with the issue of constitutionality of the office of the CAS, wondered about the difference between the functions of this office with that of the PS. And that has not yet been addressed in the current setup, so we are just waiting to see. Maybe there might be a second challenge again in court based on the current appointments that we are seeing.
All right. James, what do you make of this development?
For me, a complete distortion of the priorities of this country. I look at the faces gracing the Daily Nation, and from left to the right, I see folks who have served in various capacities as members of parliament, as governors, who want to take a job by all means. Interesting that in a country where young people are suffering for lack of jobs, we have the highest level of unemployment in the region, we still think it's important to work very hard to create the office of Chief Administrative Secretary for political losers and rejects and so on and so forth. I think this country has better priorities, and the priority for this administration, in my view, should be to try and spur economic growth, which is going to be the hope for young people to get jobs. I don't, of course, have to weigh in on the question that the courts have already declared this position unconstitutional, and I wouldn't want to imagine that there is any good reason for this administration to insist that they have to create a position that the courts have declared unconstitutional. Let them move on. I mean, they have a lot on their plate. I do not think that these folks have any specific solutions to provide to the challenges this nation is facing. I mean, let them come out here and practice business or any other thing that other people do who are not employed in government. So this idea that people who have lost political jobs have to get some other job and so on and so forth is something that this country has to do away with, and it will do us a lot of good if they can start with rejecting these people and telling them go home. But the other contradiction in terms is 5,000 people looking for just a few jobs. It's crazy. It tells you that there is a real crisis in terms of employment opportunities in this country. And if I were this administration, the first thing I would embark on is sit down and create the legal, administrative, and policy framework to take this country from the current the current employment doldrums it is in, to take it to the next level, because I think that's what they promised.
All right.
I don't see any hustler here, and I wouldn't call any of these hustlers. This is an administration for hustlers. They should maintain their focus on the ball. They came in on the basis of improving the situation for hustlers. They should do it.